Hey Brent, welcome to the MasterCard Cup. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. So your spine's straight and on a tilt. Your legs come down into a pretty bent position. You do hold your arms out in front of you and the club works out to the ball. So if I were going to work on your golf game, we would revise this posture by pushing your tail out and up, at the same time pushing your sternum out, up, and forward. And what that's going to do is just going to basically maybe get your spine on a little bit more of an angle, but it's going to raise it up a little bit because now your legs are going to be standing a little taller where they're not bent and we're just unlocked. A bending position, it causes you to sit back, so a lot of your weight right now is back on your heels. So if we push your tail out, your legs will straighten a little to an unlocked position, your spine will rise up a little, and then from there your arms can hang down a little bit more naturally, so we have your hands a little closer to your thighs, and then let the golf club work out to the ball from there, increasing the angle relationship between the arms and the golf club right in there. Okay? So that would be a nice refinement for you with respect to your posture. Now, looking at your alignment, you're a little bit closed. Your feet are aiming a little bit out to the right. Theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel. The feet parallel lines on camera would have an appearance to converge. And with that philosophy in mind, we can see you're sort of set up right down the right edge of the fairway. So our alignment is a little bit off from center. Okay, nothing obviously too dramatic, but at the end of the day, we do need to make sure that we're running our feet, knees, hips, forearms, and shoulders all parallel left of the physical target. At this point in time, let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison between you and Jordan Spieth. I've got some color-coded lines on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. Before we go ahead and take a look at the motion, we can see that he is standing a little taller in his legs. Sternum and head are a little bit more out over his toes. There's a better angle relationship between the arms and golf club. As we initiate the takeaway, want to turn the shoulders, bring the arms and hands back as well as the club, and want to see the club coming back along the red line on plane. Also in the early stages of the golf swing, we need to incorporate some wrist hinge into play, whereby we're going to transition the club head currently from below and in front of our hands to getting that club head above and behind our hands. This is a really important transitional move in the takeaway to keep that club on plane and get some leverage. From here, we're going to work the golf club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we either want to have the left arm of the club situated on the yellow line, anywhere in between the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue as we see with Jordan Spieth. Want to have full shoulder rotation, want to do this without a stable right leg, all the while maintaining the posture axis that we created at address. With your takeaway here, we see that you draw your hands almost outside a little, almost like you're trying to bring this golf club straight back for some reason when the golf swing is a circular arcing motion and the club head and hand should be moving inside. Also see that the wrists are a little bit stiff through this vantage point here, so we're not really creating any wrist hinge at all. We can see how rigid we are with the forearms and the club shaft right now, so there's definitely the club head is not working above and behind the hands at this point in time. From here the club head is now above and behind, still with no wrist hinge though. So still very, very rigid with the forearms and the golf club. So something you need to learn to do in your golf swing is learn how to create proper wrist hinge. Obviously earlier on in the golf swing. Looks like you're getting a little bit more now to the top of your backswing, but we do want to create this obviously sooner. We can still see that you're pretty rigid with the golf club. Wrist hinge does two things for us. One, it creates club travel in the backswing, so we can reduce arm travel. And the second thing it does is it gives us club head speed through the ball. So it'd be like a pitcher throwing a ball. He takes his arm back, he cocks his wrist. When he follows through, he's got something to snap. That's what that wrist hinge does for us, so it creates speed. So with you at the top of your backswing here, I assume you're probably maybe going to break down a little, get a little excess run on. Look at that excess run on here with your hands. and a little bit of compression of your forearm to your bicep because your brain's telling you still have to get that golf club back further. So I like this wrist hinge up here, just that we might as well go ahead and do it at the appropriate time during the backswing. Now at the top of the backswing here, I like where you are. I mean, you got good solid turn, nice stable right side, maintaining your posture axis you achieved at address. Obviously the arms are set a little bit steep. We can see your left arm's above the blue line. Typically for amateur players, I like to keep their left arm a little closer down on yellow, not really get it up to blue, just because it makes it easier for the club to return back to plane, the red line. But you're maintaining good geometry with your arms, that nice triangular position, and the club's in good position relative to your arms. So it's pretty solid. From here, as we create our transition back in the ball, looking at the left side of the screen again, simply want to take our weight from our right foot to our left, fire our knees and our hips laterally to the target, unwind the core, and fire the hands. And in doing so, we have to bring the club from the blue-yellow V zone back down onto red. It's imperative that we do this. And we can see here that Jordan Spieth has returned the club back onto plane. The other thing I want to observe is the relationship between the lead form and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. It simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind his hands, coming into the hitting zone. This is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing. Aside from the fact that he's also going to hit the ball straight due to the fact that the club, again, as we've already noted, has returned back to plane. And this is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots with power. I want to go back down to address for a second, and I want to get back to talking about how important that wrist hinge was early on. So when we're coming back and the club's in front and below our hands right now, we make our turn, we create our hinge, club head gets above and behind, right through here. Well, notice what we have. We have the exact same backwards check mark. The only difference is that we're not retaining as much angle as we do when we come down, because at this point in time, we haven't established maximum wrist hinge just yet. Okay? So when he gets to the top of his backswing, he returns right back to this position, retaining more angle. And again, like I said, this is a reason for hitting the ball far and straight. Let's watch your transitional move back into the ball. So hands and arms are dropping nicely. Club's returning back to at least the blue-yellow V zone. This is great. And looks like it's working back towards red. Let me go one more frame. Might be too far. Yeah. So at this point in time, what we can take a look at is here's your lead forearm, here's your club. We've got our backwards check mark. So creating some power in our golf swing will not be an issue. We also see the club is starting to return back to plane. So let's go to the next frame and see where your club falls. Let's see if it falls onto the red line. And it does. This is beautiful. So club's still slightly above and behind, and it just tracks into the ball directly from this red line. So if we connect the dots, we can see your club probably would have hit the plane line here, continues to track into the golf ball directly from this red line, and as I stated, this is what produces straight golf shots in accordance to our alignment. So we can see on the left side of the screen, club returned back to plane here, yours returned here, pretty much the same spot, and his club simply tracks into the golf ball directly from this red line, just like you. So he's also going to hit the ball straight in accordance to his alignment, assuming that the club face squares up via having a good grip. Okay? So let's go back to address for a second. Can't remember where your alignment was. So your alignment was a little bit right. So the only issue here is because your club is coming into the ball from on plane and you're aiming a little right, if the club face squares up, you're going to hit the ball over into the right corner of the fairway. So like I'm saying, the last element of what happens to the golf ball is based on the club face. So your club face better really square up, impart some right to left spin on the ball, and it does. See how closed the club face is? So because the club face is so closed, it's preventing the ball from actually going out to the right where you're aimed. It's going to start the ball more on line, but the problem is it may have too much right to left spin. Also, by the club face being closed, it's de-lofting the club. So the launch angle, the ball is being sent out too low. So we're not going to maximize our height because the club face was closed. Probably has right to left spin. The ball's probably going to draw maybe a little too much on you. But if it didn't over-release, then you'll still find the center of the fairway or the left side of the fairway, and no issues. So really good athletic motion here from you. Hands work really well. They come back, they fire through. Your core works well. You coil, you uncoil. You got good footwork that allows you to get through to a good finish. Your alignment's just a hair right. Downswing plane is superb. And obviously at this point in time, your hands are trying to release that club so you don't lose the ball to the right. And the only issue is, whether or not that club face releases. So if it doesn't release, you will lose the ball to the right. If you over-release it, you're going to lose it left. And if you time it properly, you will find your intended target. So a really good looking golf swing. Maybe just some fine tuning would obviously make you a little bit more consistent. We definitely need to learn how to create better wrist hinge coming back earlier on in the golf swing. And we have to also understand how to maintain a square club face at impact to maintain the loft to improve your launch angle, because right now the launch angle of the golf ball is too low. Okay? Anyway, at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide your guests, feel free to touch base. Be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, hope you had a fabulous day, and I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Take care.